Game of Thrones Season 8 has just 2 episodes remaining. And I'm saying that not only for people watching this video, but also for myself, because that's still something that hasn't really sank in. But one thing you can do, and one thing I promise to do, is to make sure you subscribe. I'm going to continue to make Game of Thrones content for the foreseeable future, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Now, like I said, with only 2 episodes remaining, literally any single character could get it. As a massive fan of almost every single character that's still alive, we have to realize that the plot armor that was once thick enough to save Jon Snow and Daenerys during the battle for Winterfell and save Arya from being murdered by the Night King is gonna be wearing extremely thin. In this video, I want to discuss who all may die in the final 2 episodes of Game of Thrones. Now, this video will contain spoilers, so as always, here's your sign and let's begin. Now, before we get started, please slap a like on this video, as the like goal is going to be 5,420. Also, make sure you're subscribed. We are so close to reaching 100,000 here on Sir Hunt's Reviews, and please help me reach that goal. Also, make sure you turn your notifications on so that way you get alerted every single time I drop a video. Long night! Now, the first death that I want to discuss, or the first potential character that may die in the remaining 2 episodes of Game of Thrones Season 8 that I want to discuss, is something that brings me someone that brings me a bunch of pleasure just thinking about the many different ways they will die. That being Cersei Lannister, or Cersei. Massive fan of Lena Headey here. The fact that she can make the audience hate a character who doesn't exist in such a way just is a stark reminder of her skill and talent as an actress. But the character you play in Game of Thrones is a cunt. She's caused suffering for so many people. I'm pretty sure the internet would literally shut down if she somehow survived Game of Thrones in Season 8. And the way Episode 4 went, we kind of think that she might have a strong chance of surviving. Now, I used to sort of entertain the idea of what if Cersei Lannister sat the throne in the end? There has been foreshadowing from it in this clip that I love showing, or that I love referencing rather. George R. Martin sort of looked over at Lena Headey right when he was asked who will be sitting the Iron Throne in the end. He hinted at the fact, or mentioned, that there will be multiple people that sit it. And the whole vibe and tone of the interview in general, when everyone was asked this question, just sort of leaned towards Cersei or Tyrion, just one of the Lannisters keeping the Iron Throne in the end. Now, we have to remember, when George R. Martin is asked a question about something that, is linked in between the show and the books, he can really only give a solid answer for the novels. We have to remember that the show and the books are different. They are 2 entities that exist in a similar universe, but in all actuality, they are different and have diverged so greatly from the books. The story in the end, or the journey to how the end happens, is likely going to be unrecognizable to its counterpart. Now, the characters in the events that happen may be similar, but I highly doubt they'll be 100% the exact same. And now that I'm really thinking about it, Cersei sitting the Iron Throne, or just somehow surviving all the events of the Game of Thrones in the end, would actually be pretty unexpected. And as long as she doesn't kill Daenerys or Jon Snow, then I would kind of be okay with her being alive in the end. This gives us the opportunity to make her pay for her crimes. Death is sometimes too easy of a way out, and Cersei needs to be forced to suffer. With Arya and Sandor headed down to King's Landing, her days are pretty much numbered. I don't think Arya is going to give her the chance to sort of fit a trial, and it would be awesome to have her not only kill the Night King, but also Cersei. You know what? That kind of seems a little bit too much. I think she's going to have some sort of role in ending Cersei's life, but I doubt she'll be the one to actually do it. Another person headed to King's Landing potentially to kill Cersei is Jaime Lannister. And one thing that could actually happen is, along the way to King's Landing, Jaime could maybe be stopped by Bronn. This guy can sneak anywhere in the 7 kingdoms, and I'm pretty sure they're going to run into each other again. Bronn mentioned that Jaime could not take him on his worst day, and I feel like that line is a bit of foreshadowing. Bronn was the one who gave what little skill Jaime still has, and the words that they shared in Winterfell. Jaime is not really as friendly with Bronn as Tyrion was. What I'm getting at here is, maybe just outside King's Landing, Jaime runs into Bronn, the 2 of them have a scuffle, and ultimately Bronn is killed, with Jaime escaping into King's Landing with that crossbow that Cersei sent to kill him. Now, wouldn't it be even more poetic if somehow Jaime were to use that crossbow to take out Cersei? Or maybe something different happens. Maybe Jaime doesn't survive his encounter with Bronn, and then right as Bronn is walking away sort of to go and collect his reward from Cersei, and then Arya pops up from around the corner and then uses Jaime's face space to sneak into King's Landing. I don't exactly know what's gonna happen. You all let me know what you think may happen with Cersei's fate in the final 2 episodes down below in the comment section, but we have to remember that in that trailer for episode 5, there is this hooded individual entering King's Landing. I speculated that that could be Harry Strickland, who was seen filming with Jon when he met with Cersei in that scene that's likely gonna happen in this next episode, but this could actually be Jaime Lannister. The same way he arrived into Winterfell was with a hood, and maybe the reason why the Golden Company seems to be walking in front of him is because they just opened King's Landing's gates and Cersei allowed Jaime to come in. Now, I just want to quickly share some of my thoughts on the Golden Company and what's going down in King's Landing before we move on to the more important characters who may die in the last few episodes, and that's that the Golden Company may not remain 100% loyal to Cersei in the end. I could see a big betrayal coming from them, and that would be a shock to the viewing audience because literally no one would have expected it. After they idly stood by in episode 4 while Missandei was beheaded and then pushed off of King's Landing's walls, they seemed pretty unfazed by that, and if they were gonna pull some type of a coup, then that would have been the perfect time to do it. Daenerys was outside the walls with her dragon, and they were inside. It could have just been a writer's choice to delay their betrayal until the next episode. Or you know what? Now that I'm actually thinking about this, it's actually not that unexpected for them to betray Cersei. The line that Harry Strickland says to her, you know, it would be an honor fighting for you, seemed a little bit ominous, and I think most of the viewing audience, or a good chunk of them, expect some sort of betrayal on the Golden Company in regards to Cersei. What if the actual twist is that they remain loyal to Cersei? Jorah spending 10 years in the Golden Company a long time ago hasn't really been referenced at all this season, so maybe the big twist is that they stay loyal to her all the way until she goes down, or maybe they're even responsible for handing her back the 7 kingdoms. And you know what? I'm actually editing this in post-video because it all just sort of clicked in my head. The Golden Company has likely, you know, they were hired by the actual Iron Bank. The Iron Bank wants to secure their return of their investment. If Cersei were to lose the Iron Throne, this is what's going to cause the Golden Company to turn tail on her. They're going to wait for the perfect moment until Jon and Daenerys are about to swoop in and win, and then betray her. Maybe they're the ones to put the final blow to Cersei, or maybe one of them could do me a massive favor and spear Euron through the fucking face. Now, the next thing that I want to discuss is something a little bit off topic, but it'll be a good segue into discussing the fates of Jon Snow and Daenerys. Is this emblem from the Game of Thrones Season 8 intro. There appears to be 1 large dragon and then 3 smaller dragons. And because of that, and you know, the fact that we've lost Viserion and Rhaegal, a lot of the viewing audience tends to think that this is foreshadowing into there being some sort of other dragon in the equation. Daenerys only had 3, so maybe there's a 3rd one that Viserion or Rhaegal laid when the dragons were sort of off screen for a while. Now, from my own just first-hand memory, I don't think there was ever a significant amount of time that a dragon was left alone and Daenerys didn't know of its whereabouts. Now, there is a small chance that maybe one of the dragons laid a clutch of eggs somewhere, but I think that'll happen in the end if Drogon actually survives. What I think this represents is Daenerys and her 3 children. Daenerys is the large dragon, and the 3 smaller dragons are Viserion, Rhaegal, and Drogon. But real quick, you all let me know what you think this is down below in the comment section. Now, the next person that I want to discuss about who may potentially die and their fate in the end of Game of Thrones Season 8 is someone that I do with much hesitation. Sir Hunt is the world's biggest fan of Daenerys. No matter what she does, in my mind, I will always find a way to manipulate the story and events into making her look as though she's the good person and she was right in every action she took. What gets me worried about these final 2 episodes is something that I mentioned in my last video. The way that the show is being written and the pacing, how it's been switched since the Night King died. The main focus has been Daenerys' emotional mind state. One thing Targaryens are famous for in this show are going batshit insane. So it seems as though the writers are kind of taking us down this loophole in which Daenerys will become the Mad Queen. This will force Jon to do something about her and maybe team up with Cersei to help take her out. At least that's what we're being led to believe by some of the events that transpired in Game of Thrones Season 8 Episode 4. Now, with this season, luckily, the speed is at a breakneck pace, and the storyline can actually switch around midway through an episode. This is what I keep telling myself in preparation, that, oh, this is all going to change. Don't worry, halfway through Episode 5, everything will switch up. Jon and Daenerys will be good again, and she's not going to be written as this crazy person. But then again, when you look at some of the other events that have happened in Season 8, like this underlying story of Jon Snow being the rightful heir, Dan and Dave out of nowhere seemingly putting all focus and emphasis of the most important person of the story being Jon Snow and less Daenerys, then this could likely happen. I mean, I don't know. I really don't. My thoughts in my head is just an emotional wreck the more I start to think about this event going down. We're like less than 48 hours away from something that could make or break break the final season, for me at least. And I know, of course, at first I'll be upset if Daenerys does die, but then after I go back and watch, I'll maybe enjoy the storyline a little bit more. But I will let you know in my live stream on Sunday, May 12th at approximately 10:15 p.m. if Daenerys dies that episode, you guys are probably gonna see me cry on webcam. We need to move on. You all let me know what you think the likelihood of Daenerys surviving is down below in the comment section. Now, the next person that I want to discuss is pretty obvious. My other favorite, pretty close, equally tied to number one with Daenerys, and that being Jon Snow. Or I guess the way the season's going, we should start calling him King Aegon the Sixth of his name of House Targaryen. My predictions for Jon Snow in the last two episodes are going to be pretty cut and dry. I'm positive that Jon Snow is the last character who has 100% bulletproof armor and will not be killed by the end of this series. Now, the main reason being is because it's clear that Jon is the main character of this story. Daenerys is also the main character, but I feel like we can't have an ending where both of them survive. Oh, and you know what? Something just popped into my head. What if there's a situation in which there's an intense battle? Well, no, there's going to be an intense battle. The director is Miguel Sapochnik, and he's the same guy who did the Battle at Winterfell and then also the Battle of the Bastards. But what if there's some sort of intense battle? Jon Snow fights his way through King's Landing and then ultimately discovers that his Daenerys has been taken down at some point during the invasion of King's Landing. Maybe it's when Drogon is taken out of the air or sort of out of commission. Jon could quickly then run up to her and give her the kiss of life. Remember, he has recently mentioned that he still doesn't have faith in R'hllor, and that's one of the key premises for R'hllor to work his magic. He really only does it for people who stop believing in him. Those who have lost faith seem to be rewarded. But on a side note, and throwing up a quick spoiler warning here, these are likely a load of horseshit, but I was sent some information, or a picture rather, was leaked online, and the person sent me some information saying that, and I'm not going to show it here because it may be real, but this was an image of Jon Snow stabbing Daenerys through the heart at some point during season 8. Initially, they said this was how Jon Snow forges Lightbringer and kills the Night King. Well, we all know that Arya took out the Night King, and on the TV show at least, there is really no Lightbringer, aside from Daenerys and her dragons. But the way that the Battle for Winterfell went down, I think this is, if this image is legit, which it likely isn't, but if it is, what's more happening here is that Daenerys has gone fully insane. Whatever she's about to go do, she just confided in Jon with, and maybe Jon decides to end her life because she's about to go and slaughter millions of innocent people in King's Landing. If something like that does happen, that would be extremely intense, but we can't say that we didn't see it coming. Jon is quickly becoming more of a leader and realizing that he's got a greater responsibility, which is why he left Ghost without saying goodbye, and maybe he takes on that ultimate responsibility, realizes that he's destined to sit the Iron Throne and wants to stop Daenerys, and realizes the only way to do this is by killing her. And you all let me know what you think about that down below in the comment section. Now, I could probably go on for the next 10 to 15 minutes about who all may stand a chance of dying in these last two episodes, but we are getting short for time in this video, so you all let me know down below who you think stands the chance of most dying. I really only focused on Jon, Daenerys, and Cersei because any other character that does die doesn't really affect the outcome of the story too much. This has all been about the war for the Iron Throne, and Jon, Cersei, and Daenerys are the three strongest contenders. Traditionally, the second to last episode of a season is always filled with the most death, and this is where we've had the Red Wedding and Ned Stark's decapitation. Both of those events always happened in the second to last episode of the season. So what will be the big, shocking, crazy twist that will happen in episode 5 of Game of Thrones season 8? In my opinion, it could be something as crazy as Cersei still remaining to sit the Iron Throne in the end, and also Daenerys dying. Well, alright, with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video, as the like goal is going to be 5,420. Also, make sure you're subscribed. We have a subscriber goal of trying to reach 100,000, and we are ever so close. Also, make sure you have your notifications turned on, so that way you get alerted every single time I drop a video. Long night. Super special shout out to every single person watching, and a super special thank you to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com/SirHuntsReviews. I want to thank you all again so much for watching. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Reviews.